So let's talk about brief history in basketball. So who invented basketball? So the history of basketball began with its invention in 1891 in Springfield, Massachusetts by Canadian physical education instructor James Naismith as a less injury-prone sport than football. So according to him, basketball is a less prone injury than a football because in basketball the only thing that you're going to do with is you're just going to dribble the ball, while in football you're going to kick the ball, so it can cause you an injury. So Naismith was a 31-year-old graduate student when he created the indoor sport to keep athletes indoors during the winters. Naismith called his new game basketball and wrote up 13 rules. So two pitch baskets and a soccer ball were the equipment. James Naismith also put the baskets at each end of the gym, nailed 10 feet above the floor. So the teams had a 9 players each. So let's talk about the 10 facts that we didn't know about basketball. 1 is James Naismith who invented the basketball. 2. Basketball was played with a different ball. 3. Dribbling wasn't allowed. 4. More players per side. 5. Fouls played. 6. Referees used watches. The game was much shorter. And the 1979 NCAA tournament was the start of basketball grades.
So this is the continuation of Miss Christiane Bacanto's report, which is the basketball equipments and facilities. And I'm going to discuss the foul line, the key, the three-point line or the arc, the line markings, the shot clock, and the scoreboard. The foul line. For all size courts, the foul line is the 15 feet in the front of the backboard. It is the line directly in front of the hoop where the foul shots or free throws are attempted. The key. The key is 12 feet wide and is the same for all basketball courts. The backboard extends 4 feet out over the baseline into the key. A half circle of diameter 6 foot extends from the foul line away from the basket to complete the key. The three-point line, or the arc. For NBA basketball courts, the three-point arc is 22 feet to the center of the rim on the sides with a straight line extending out 16 feet and 9 inches from the baseline. Past those points, the line extends out 23 feet and 9 inches from the center of the rim. Line markings. All line markings on the floor are 2 inches wide and can vary in color. The shot clock. The shot clock is a countdown timer used in the basketball that provides a set amount of time from 24 to 35 seconds depending on the league that a team may possess the ball before attempting to score a field goal. It is distinct from the game clock, which displays the time remaining in the period of play. It may be colloquially known as the 24-second clock, particularly in the NBA and other leagues where that is the duration of the shot clock. If the shot clock reaches zero before the team attempts a field goal, the team has committed a shot clock violation which is penalized with the loss of possession. The scoreboard. The scoreboard is a large board for publicly displaying the score in a game. Most levels of sports from high school and above use at least one scoreboard for keeping score, measuring time, and displaying statistics. Scoreboards in the past used a mechanical clock and numeral cards to display the score. When a point was made, a person would put the appropriate digits on a hook. Most modern scoreboards use electromechanical or electronic means of displaying the score. In this, digits are often composed of large dot matrix or seven-segment display made of incandescent bulbs. Light-emitting diodes or electromechanical flip segments. An official or neutral person will operate the scoreboard using a control panel.
Basic skills in basketball. The objective of basketball is to score more points than your opponent by putting the ball through the hoop. However, the process in which an individual or team does this is much more complicated than it seems. Some of the most important skills that are part of the game of basketball are the 5 basic skills, which includes dribbling, shooting, running, passing, and jumping. First, we have dribbling. Dribbling is an important skill for all basketball players. This skill will allow you to move up and down the court, maneuver past defenders, and execute plays. Proper dribbling requires ball handling skills and knowledge of how to spread your fingers for ball control. It is also best if you know how to dribble equally well with both hands. Dribbling is a process by which a player has to move the basketball around the court. This is done by continuously bouncing the ball between a player's hands and the floor. So a player cannot walk around the court holding the ball, or this will be deemed a traveling violation. The best dribblers in basketball are massive assets to their team on the court, possessing the ability to navigate defenders without having to pass the ball. Some of the all-time great dribblers in NBA history include Allen Iverson, Kyrie Irving, and Jamal Crawford. Each of these players has put the league on notice that they'll need exceptional defenders to keep up with their world-class ball handling abilities. Dribbling tips for beginners. First, do not dribble with the palm of your hand but your fingertips instead. Practice dribbling hard or doing pound dribbles. Spread your fingers wide for better ball support. Also, practice dribbling with your off hand. If you're right-handed, do dribbling drills with your left hand as well. And last, look for techniques on how you can have a quick dribble. Having a quick dribble will also allow you to get to your spots quicker than the defense. Second is shooting. In order to score points in basketball, you need to shoot the ball into the hoop. This requires the ability to properly hold and throw the ball into the air toward the basket while avoiding defenders. A proper shot requires precise aiming, arm extension, and lift from the legs. There are different types of shots you need to learn, including jump shots, layups, and free throws. Shooting is the main skill that directly involves scoring points. Whether a player shoots a layup, mid-range shot, or a three-pointer, it is all encompassed in the idea of shooting or scoring the basketball. So shooting a basketball involves the most specific technique of any of the 5 basic skills, and also may require the most practice to master the skill. The further from the hoop, the more difficult the process of shooting becomes, which is why only the best shooters have long-range ability. So if a player's defensive assignment has the ability to shoot at a high level, they become much harder to guard, making shooting a very valuable skill to possess on the court. A few of the all-time best shooters in basketball are Steph Curry, Ray Allen, and Reggie Miller. Shooting tips for beginners. First, get your legs involved. So you need to bend your knees and explode into your shoot. Snap your shooting elbow. This advice solves multiple problems. From arm extension to keeping the follow-through, it's impossible to snap your elbow without extending your arm. That now leads to higher shot arc and also leads to snapping movement of the wrist. Snap your wrist and you'll be able to hold that follow-through. Pay attention to your grip. Like dribbling, your fingers must be spread so you can balance the ball with one hand. There should be a little space between the ball and your palm. Be balanced. There is no rule of thumb here, but do what comes naturally. Some prefer both feet square or facing the basket, while some prefer their feet a little sideways. Spread your feet shoulder width apart, and the shooting foot should be forward a little bit with the non-shooting lagging behind.
Now let's move on to the third basic skills in basketball, which is running. Running is a big part of basketball. In a full court game, you will find yourself running back and forth as the game quickly transitions between offense and defense. When you have the ball, running will help you to avoid defenders and get to the basket quicker. On defense, you often will find yourself needing to run after the opponent, especially during fast breaks. So the average basketball player runs 2.55 miles per game and may run more if they are a forward. Speed can make all the difference in a basketball play, and incorporating running into your workout routine can definitely boost your speed times, making you a better basketball player. So the next basic skill is passing. Basketball is a team sport that involves finding a teammate who is open for a shot. The ability to pass the ball to this player can make the difference between scoring and not scoring. Really great passers are an important part of a basketball team and usually the ones who set up scoring plays. So a pass in basketball is one of the most basic and fundamental skills needed to play the game. It is when a player moves the ball to another teammate through the air without being right next to each other. A pass advances the ball anywhere around the court anytime a player is not dribbling it. Some passing tips for beginners. First, passing. Second, make the ball pass. Third, look ahead. And fourth, never get tired of passing. If you're a beginner, make sure to put these tips in mind in order for you and your teammates to gain more scores. And now the last basic skills in basketball, which is jumping. Jumping is another skill that can define how good a basketball player is. Jumping is involved in offense during the jump ball in the beginning, while taking shots, and sometimes while trying to catch a pass. On defensive, you will need the ability to jump when trying to block a shot or a pass. Being able to out-jump your opponent for a rebound also is important. So if you want to score in basketball, you need this jumping skill wherein it will help you to take shots or catch a pass or even block a shot from your opponent. And that would be all for the basic skills in basketball. Thank you for listening.
So these are the rules of basketball by James Naismith. First and second, the ball may be thrown in any direction with one or both hands. And then the ball may be batted in any direction with one or both hands. So in any means, especially in passing or throwing, you should use both of your hands, but never with the fist. So the palm should be used in terms of throwing the ball or passing it to your teammate. And then for the other one, a player cannot run with the ball. The player must throw it from the spot on which he catches it. Allowance to be made for a man who catches the ball when running at a good speed if he tries to stop. So in the first line, a player cannot run with the ball. You are not allowed to run with the ball because you will have the violation of traveling. So in case if you are hesitant to dribble the ball, then the best thing to do is to pass it to your teammate, but in a spot where he can catch it. And for the next rule is that the ball must be held in or between the hands. The arms or body must not be used for holding it. So you are only allowed to hold it by your hands, with your bare hands only. Much better if you are going to use both hands for better grip of the ball. Then no shouldering, holding, pushing, tripping, or striking in any way the person of an opponent shall be allowed. The first infringement of this rule by any player in shall count as a foul. The second shall disqualify him until the next goal is made, or if there was evident intent to injure the person for the whole of the game, no substitute allowed. So if you are going to intentionally hit or trip the person, like pushing him, or the player is holding the ball, then you might face a violation that might kick you out of the game if it is intentionally done to hurt the player. And then a foul is striking at the ball with the fist, violation of rules 3 and 4 and such as described in rules. So this rule here is just describing the foul, especially when striking at the ball with the fist. So you are not really allowed to use fist even in the ball. Okay. And for the next one, if either side makes three consecutive fouls, it shall count a goal for the opponents. Consecutive means without the opponents in the meantime making a foul. So it has been changed in this era. Instead of three consecutive fouls, it is been moved just to two consecutive fouls. So if you are going to foul the player consecutively, then your team shall be punished by making free throws of the opponents. It's like a bonus, a free shot, and the points if you're to foul consecutively. Next one. A goal shall be made when the ball is thrown or batted from the grounds into the basket and stays there, providing those defending the goal do not touch or disturb the goal. If the ball rests on the edges and the opponent moves the basket, it shall count as a goal. Okay, for the next one. When the ball goes out of bounds, it shall be thrown into the field of play by the first person first touching it. In case of a dispute, the umpire shall throw it straight into the field. The thrower in is allowed 5 seconds. If he holds it longer, it shall go to the opponent. If any side persists in delaying the game, the umpire shall call a foul on that side. So you are not allowed to stay in the inbound line outside of the court, in the inbound line for too long. But it's not 5 seconds, but it has been changed to 8 seconds. So it is an 8 seconds count for you to pass the ball to your teammate. If you are unsuccessfully to pass the ball to your teammate, then the turnover of the ball should be in your opponent's side. So the umpire shall be judge of the men and shall note the fouls and notify the referee when 3 consecutive fouls have been made. He shall have power to disqualify men according to Rule 5. So a bunch of rule has been changed already in this era. Just like the 3 consecutive fouls, then it has been moved to 2 consecutive fouls, and then even if one of the player have committed this type of a violation, then he will not be kicked out of the game. So but if the player reaches the maximum foul that is given, the sixth foul, then that is where the referee or even the table has the power to disqualify the player because of reaching the maximum foul that is given to them. Okay, and for the next one, the referee shall be judge of the ball and shall decide when the ball is in play, in bounds, to which side it belongs, and shall keep the time. He shall decide when the goal has been made and keep account of the goals with any other duties that are usually performed by referee. So basically, the referee here, it's like the chief looker of the game. So the referee will decide when the ball is inside still in the court, or it has been already out of bounds, which can commit a turnover to the opponent's sides. And then also it is familiar in any last second shot when the player successfully throws the ball in the ring, so it shall be reviewed by the referee if it is counted or not counted as a point. Okay, and for the last two rule, the time shall be 2 15-minute halves with 5 minutes rest between. So in this era, it has already been changed also. The time is 12 minutes each of the quarter. The first, second, third quarter is given 12 minutes each of those quarter. And I think it is 10 minutes the time to rest for the player. Just like what I said earlier, that a bunch of rules has been changed in this era. Okay, and for the last rule, the side making the most goals in that time shall be declared the winner. In case of a draw, the game may, by agreement of the captains, be continued until another goal is made. So the team that has make most of the points shall be declared the winner. So it is game where points really matters. And also, if the game comes to close, but still it is a tie score, then another time should be given to each of the team.
Violations: walking or traveling. Taking more than a step and a half without dribbling the ball is traveling. Moving your pivot foot once you've stopped dribbling is traveling. Carrying or palming. When a player dribbles the ball with his hand too far to the side of or sometimes even under the ball is called carrying or palming. Double dribble. Dribbling the ball with both hands on the ball at the same time or picking up the dribble and then dribble again is a double dribble. Held ball. Occasionally, two or more opposing player will gain possession of the ball at the same time. In order to avoid a prolonged and or a violent tussle, the referee stops the action and award the ball to the one team or the other on the rotating basis. Goaltending. If a defensive player interferes with a shot while it's on the way down towards the basket, while it's on the way up towards the basket after having touched the backboard, or while it's in the cylinder above the rim, it's goaltending and the shot counts. If committed by an offensive player, it's a violation and the ball is awarded to the opposing team for a throw-in. Overtime. If the score is tied at the end of the regulation time, an extra period is played to determine the winner. This period is called overtime. The length of the extra period depends on the league or the level of the game. Overtime begins with a jump ball and ends with the allotted time has expired. The team with the most points at the end of the extra period is the winner. If the score remains tied at the end of the overtime, then another period will be played. This process will continue until a winner can be determined. Rough play. Dr. James Naismith, the inventor of basketball, despised the rough play tactics rampant in sports like football and rugby. Thus, when inventing basketball, he did his best to create a sport that discouraged excessive roughness. The modern rules reflects his desire. By rule, basketball is a non-contact sport. This does not mean that any
A hand signal in basketball is predominantly used when players want to communicate something non-verbally to their teammates. They use a hand gestures instead to tell their teammates what the play is for, offense or defense. A hand signals can also be used by coaches and referees as a way to counteract loud crowds at games. Referees are constantly using hand signals on the court. Each one represents a foul, call, or an action that needs to be communicated. These hand signals are mainly in place to allow players and coaches to understand the call that was just made. In spite of spectator noise in loud environments, that being said, these hand signals often dial up the noise in basketball stadiums even further when signifying a significant call. So this is the list of the most common referee signals in basketball. We have blocking, carrying, charging, double dribble, holding, jump ball, intentional foul, technical foul, traveling, 3-point attempt, 3-point score, 3-second violation, timeout signal, play calling signals, call for a pick signal, isolation play signal, and celebration signal. So first is we have blocking hand signal. If a defensive player commits a blocking foul, the official will have both hands in fist, touching his hips and his elbows in tight against his body. Next is we have carrying or palming. In order to signal a palming or carrying violation, the referee will have one hand at the side, flip over from palm up to palm down. Next is charging. Referee places one hand behind their head to form a triangle with their arm. They will then point the opposite direction of the team that committed the foul. Next is double dribble. The official will signal a double dribble violation that has been committed by putting both of his hands in front of him, with palms down and alternating them up and down as if dribbling a basketball. Next is we have holding. The holding signal is made by having one arm extended upwards in front of the face and the other hand grabbing the wrist. Next is jump ball. When both players have control over the ball at the same time, it is indicated by both thumbs pointing upwards with arms extended. Next is intentional foul. When a player commits an intentional foul, the official will put both arms above his head and cross them. Next is technical foul. To signal a technical foul has occurred, the referee will place both his hands in front of him and put them in the formation of a letter T. Traveling. When a player has committed a traveling violation, the official will signal it by placing both of his hands in front of him and moving them in a circle.
Following are the conditioning or cardio drills with a basketball. So the first one is the full court dribbling and layup drill. This drill is exactly what it sounds like. You will start at the baseline and dribble the length of the court and shoot a layup. Then you will grab your rebound and shoot a layup at the other end of the floor. You can continue circling the court this way until you make a certain number of layups or for a set time limit. Be sure to do this drill twice, once on the right side and once on the left, so that you can work on dribbling and shooting with each hand. You can also work on your 1v1 moves by setting up cones and making dribbles moves each time you reach a cone. Second is the dribbling cone weave. For this drill, you can set up cones in a Z or a zigzag pattern. Dribble to each cone, then cross over, and switch hands each time you reach a cone. The third one is the two-ball dribbling. So this dribbling is another way to work on cardio and ball handling. With the two-ball dribbling, you have a basketball in each hand, and you dribble the length of the court. You can alternate the dribbles, one ball high and one ball low, or you can even weave two cones while dribbling the two balls. Fourth is the cone crab layup drill. This is another drill you can do to work on cardio as well as shooting. You will need two cones and you will put one cone at the top of the key and another at the elbow. Start underneath the basket with the ball and dribble out to the top of the key around the cone and toward the second cone. So as you pass the second cone, pick it up with your off hand and finish the layup with your other hand. So this drill can help you improve your layups as well as your conditioning. One of the example of running drills in basketball is the full court partner sprints. If you have a teammate who wants to get in some basketball conditioning, you can do this drill together. You and your partner can alternate sprinting the length of the court and back. While you are running, your partner can rest. When you finish, your partner can start so that you are pushing each other to go as fast as you can.
Second is minute sideline sprint. One common basketball conditioning drill is sideline sprints. This exercise requires you to run from sideline to sideline as many as times as you can in 1 minute. And for conditioning drills with no running required, first we have exercise bike. If you
Hi everyone, good morning. So I am Celine Casanilida. For the assigned topics that was given to us was a basketball. So as we all know, basketball na is just a common sports that we know. One of the common sports that we know. So for today, I will be um, discussing to you or letting you share my knowledge about the terminology set place. So, terminology set place. Okay, so terminology set place is it is to set or to place in some relation to something or someone. So it is also a particular portion of space or the space in general or time and place. Okay, so terminology set place is also it is a preparation or the setup. So we will set up first the place, of course, where they will be going to play, and then also we will be extended and the things that we'll be going to use during the play. And also, terminology set place is so important in the field of sports. So, this increases the general awareness and helps enjoy sports programs to the maximum. And also, when they feel comfortable, so with the field, so it also encourage several people um, to join them or to let them um, to let other people uh, join them in the field where they feel comfortable. And also, terminologies at place, it helps to understand the specific topics and spread the knowledge to non-specialists. And also, we need to remember that terminology set plays. It's always important to know the jargon of any sports and make sure you learn the terms before stepping on the court, of course, and when the field is ready and comfortable to play with, then you will be having confident to play just because of those setups or those comfortable field.
So, we are now down to the terminology set play in basketball. In playing such game, we have to bear in mind the various terminologies that we may know or to be aware what's happening in the middle of the game. Hence, these are the different terminologies set in the game of basketball. First, airball. So, airball means a shot attempt that was off the mark and didn't touch the basket or the backboard. So, next up is backboard. So, backboard is the rectangular piece of wood or fiberglass attached to the back of the basket or the ring. So, it is a rounded or rectangular board which serves to keep missed shots from going out of bounds and from which the ball can be made to rebound into the basket. Moving on, we are now down to the what we call backs out. So, positioning yourself between the basket and your opponent as a way to obtain a rebound. So, backing out refers to the protective rebounding position a basketball player takes around the hoop to block an opposing player. So, backs out drills will prepare young players to visually deduce how a missed shot will bounce off the rim or backboard. So now we are heading to the fourth one, which is we called assist. So assist happen when a certain player passes the ball to their specific teammate, and which lead those specific teammate going to the basket or shooting the ball in the basket. So finally, we are now in the terminology is called brick. So, brick, when a shot that bounces off the rim or backboard without going in. So, a brick in basketball is when a very poor shot attempt hits only the rim or the backboard and does not go in the net. The term refers to the basketball falling.
Lastly, jump ball. So, jump will happen when two opposing players jump for a basketball that was tossed in the air by a referee. Also, a way to award possession after two opposing players simultaneously gain possession of a ball. So, next one will be swish. So, a swish is a shot that goes straight through the net without touching the rim or backboard. It is also known as nothing but net.